Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Had True Godzilla's Sacred Gear Part 2. Before we start, please go support Dragon Necro King 132 for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. Chapter 8, Third Person POV. Previously on Highschool Singular Point. Issei. Rias isn't human, I guess I'll find out what she is when we get to Kuo. But she better not stop the ritual, otherwise, things are gonna get bloody. Now, Issei sighed as he grumbled to himself. Issei. I hate that people are looking at me. The black-haired boy and Ria's Gremory arrived at Kuo Academy. They walked into the school grounds as Rias was clinging onto Issei's arm. Female student 1. Please tell me I'm seeing things. Female student 2. You're not seeing things, I'm actually seeing it as well. Female 3. Rias is walking with Hyoudou. Rias smiled and waved at the audience that was staring at them. Issei, on the other hand, simply snorted and looked away. He didn't care what others say about him, but he also hated that there were some people who think that he is still the same old pervert as he used to be. Once they walked into the school building, Rias unhooked her arms, much to Issei's pleasure. Rias. I will send someone to get you after school, I'll see you later. BYE. But that Issei watched as Rias walked away, possibly making her way to her classroom. The black-haired boy let out another snort as walking and talking to her was really annoying. He basically ignored all her questions about what he was cause he doesn't want to tell her, why would he? He doesn't even know what she is. But he does know that Rias isn't human, he can also sense that there were some others that weren't human as well. But with all the students and teachers in Kuo Academy, it's nearly impossible to know who is human and who is not. Issei. This is gonna be one annoying day, I can already tell this better be worth it. Issei made his way towards his class, but before he did he took a quick stop to his locker that all students were given. He opened his locker and well, Issei blinked in confusion as he wondered why there was a letter in his locker. One with a heart no less, which only meant one thing, this was a love letter. The black-haired boy picked up the love letter and opened it. He then started to read it, but not out loud cause he didn't want anyone staring at him. Dear Hyoudou. I know you and I don't really see eye to eye most of the time, especially back when you were a pervert, but I just want to say that I love you. You may not feel the same, but that's alright. I don't blame you. From someone, you know. Issei raised an eyebrow as he wondered who could have written this love letter to him. There were multiple reasons why this made no sense to the black-haired boy, but the main reason was that Issei wasn't liked by any girls when he was a pervert, so why does he have a love letter? And it's not an old one, he can tell that it was actually placed in his locker today. But now the question still remains, who is the one who placed it in his locker? The black-haired boy sighed as he placed the letter in his pocket. He was gonna need to ask someone if they know anything about who placed the letter in his locker. Issei. I'll worry about that later, for now, I got class. Issei then made his way towards his class. Time skip. Issei groaned in annoyance as he had his head on his desk. His former perverted friend was demanding answers to why Issei and Rias were walking together. Of course, this annoyed the black-haired boy because he did not want to deal with this bullshit, especially after the events of yesterday. Speaking of which, he heard a rumor about the tree his beam attack destroyed. Apparently, people think that it was someone who drove their car into it. Mitsuda. Tell us, Issei, now. Issei sighed. Issei. I told you two already, there is nothing going on between me and Ria's Gremory. Why would I? Motohama. LIES1 don't play dumb with us, we're the pervert trio, remember? Issei deadpanned at the two. Issei. No, we're not. I gave that up cause I no longer care about any of that for even being in love. Aika appeared next to the black-haired boy, which startled Motohama and Mitsuda, but Issei wasn't fazed by this. Why would he? He's got no reason to. Aika. Aw, come on Hyoudou. I'm sure that there is someone out there who is in love with you. Issei looked at Aika. Issei, sorry Aika. But there's no reason for me to be in love. Aika. Well, maybe you'll get a love letter from someone. Issei. Oh, already did. This got Motohama and Mitsuda's attention as they stared at the black-haired boy in shock. Both. What, you got a love letter? This seemed to get everyone else's attention as they looked over and began to whisper to each other. Female student 1. You hear that? Hyoudou got a love letter. Female student 2. Who in their right mind would do that? Female student 3. I mean, sure he no longer does perverted things, but maybe it's all a lie to let out guard down. Male student 1. I can't believe this Hyoudou got a love letter. Male student 2. Lucky bastard, it should have been me. Male student 3. I got a love letter. Male student 2. We know, Bob. Male student 3. I'm gay. Male student 2. We know, Bob. Issei let out another sigh as he glared at Mitsuda and Motohama. Issei. Did you two have to scream it out? What's next? You're gonna sing Justin Bieber? Aika giggled at Issei's words. Issei heard this and for some reason, he couldn't help but chuckle. Issei. Cute. Silence filled the room as everyone heard what the black-haired boy said. Aika grew a blush from Issei's words. Aika. Did you say, cute? Issei. Yeah. Aika's face went bright red as steam came off her head. The other students couldn't believe what they had just heard. Female student 1. Did Hyoudou just call Aika cute? Female student 2. OMG, I can't believe it, I never thought this day would come. Female student 3. Please tell me someone recorded that. Male student 1. Holy shit. Male student 2. Okay, I gotta admit. Hyoudou is one baddest mother bucker. Male student 3. Damn right he is. Issei groaned in annoyance and shook his head. He just said that Aika looked cute. Like, what's the problem with that? Issei. Sometimes, I don't understand people. Suddenly, the girls begin to scream happily, which annoyed Issei cause they were so loud. He was about to tell them off, but the black-haired boy turned and saw what they were screaming about. At the classroom door was a handsome young man with short blonde hair, blue eyes, and a mole underneath his left eye. He wore the Kuo Academy boys' school uniform, which consists of a black blazer with white accents over a white long-sleeved dress shirt with a black ribbon on the collar, matching black pants, and brown dress shoes. Issei sighed as he knew who this person was. This was Hyoudou Kiba. The prince of Kuo Academy. The girls of Kuo Academy are madly in love with the blonde-haired boy. As the female students gushed over Kiba, the blonde-haired boy made his way over to Issei. The black-haired boy simply stared at Kiba. Issei. So he must be the one that Ria's Gremory said she'll send to get me. Kiba smiled at Issei. Kiba. Hello, you must be Issei Hyoudou. Issei. Yeah, that's me. Kiba. I must say, I have heard a lot about you. The black-haired boy tilted his head. Issei. I doubt that people have talked much about me. Everyone in the classroom looked at Issei. All. Yes, we have. Issei. Okay, then. But why are you here? Kiba simply smiled. Why does he smile like that? Like that Alistair dude he saw yesterday's smile was even better than this dude. Kiba. I came here by order of Ria's Gremory, she wants you to follow me. Issei. Why do I get the feeling that follow me part is gonna end up as a song for something? Issei let out a small sigh as he stood up. Issei. Fine, let's get this over with. The black-haired boy started to follow Kiba, knowing that he won't get any answers unless he cooperate. He followed the blonde-haired boy for a good while. When he felt like this was a waste of his time, they then reached where Kiba was bringing Issei. It was the old school building. Issei had heard much about it before what happened to him. He heard that it was used when Kuo Academy was an all-girls school, but since it turned co-ed it was abandoned for the new school building. Issei. So, this must be her base of operation. Both Issei and Kiba made their way inside the two-story high building. The blonde-haired boy didn't know that there were some red dust coming off the black-haired boy's body. They went upstairs and went further into the building. As they were, Issei looked around and saw that the corridor was surprisingly clean for an old and abandoned building. Before long the duo arrived at a classroom with a sign on the door that had the words Occult Research Club on it. Issei. So, this is it? Kiba looked at Issei and nodded his head. Kiba. Yes, but you is inside. Issei. Well, let's get in there. Kiba nodded his head as he opened the door and entered the room with Issei following closely behind. However, instead of an old and dusty classroom, what he saw instead is a well-furnished place with couches, candles, a desk, and some other stuff as well. The black-haired boy shouldn't be surprised, but for some reason he was. In the corner, he saw some sort of gigantic intricate circle drawn in chalk. Issei. Why am I even surprised? Like I saw the hallway. Issei's gaze wandered over the place as he spotted someone well known. It was a petite girl with white hair and gold eyes. The front of her hair had two long bangs going past her shoulders and several loose bangs hanging over her forehead, while the back had a short bob cut. She also wore a black cat-shaped hair clip on both sides of her hair. Issei knew this girl. It was Kaneko Taoju, also known as the Kuo Academy mascot. She has a cult following among a select number of males. She is also popular among the females as being called cute. Issei. So she's a part of this group, interesting. Kiba. Kaneko, this is Issei Hyoudou. Kaneko looked at Issei for a moment, her hazel eyes staring into the black-haired boy's yellow eyes. She then lowers her head and went back to eating. Issei wasn't surprised by this. From what he has heard from other students, Kaneko wasn't much of a talker and preferred to keep to herself. Suddenly, Issei heard the sound of water flowing coming from a room. The black-haired boy turned his gaze to the noise and saw the body outline of a woman behind some shower curtains. If Issei was his old perverted self, he would be gushing over whoever was in the shower. But after going for hell and back, he's not even affected by things like that anymore. Kaneko looked at Issei, whose gaze was staring at the shower. She thought that he was just a simple pervert. But she was surprised when the black-haired boy just rolled his eyes and looked away. Kaneko. I guess he isn't a pervert, but he gives off a very strange aura. It's like I'm staring at an apex predator. Kaneko was different than the others in the Occult Research Club. She had a type of enhanced senses similar to animals. She can tell that Issei was something else entirely. Issei stood where he was with a bored expression on his face. Ara. Ara. Yufufu, hello there. cutie. Issei turned his gaze to someone approaching him with a kind grin. The person was a beautiful young woman with a voluptuous figure, very long black hair, and violet eyes. Her hair was tied in a long ponytail, reaching all the way down to her legs, with 2 strands sticking out from the top and sloping backward, with an orange ribbon keeping it in place. The black-haired boy stared at the woman who introduced herself as Akeno Himejima. Issei got a strange feeling from her. Issei. Nice to meet you. Just then, Riaz emerges from the restroom wearing her school outfit. Riaz. Sorry, I forgot to have a shower at your place. Please forgive me, Issei. Issei. It's fine. Riaz. Now then, please take a seat. The black-haired boy sat down next to Konko as he looked at Riaz who stood in front of her table. Riaz. I welcome you to the Occult Research Club. Issei. Thanks, even though I was forced to be here. Riaz. Now. That isn't nice to say to the one who saved your life from a fallen angel. Issei. This sudden laugh caught the Occult Research Club off guard. The reason is that the black-haired boy's laugh nearly sounded like that of a psychopath. Riaz. May I ask, what's so funny? Issei. You saved me from a what now? Riaz. A fallen angel. Issei. Ah, yes. A fallen angel, you see I wasn't in trouble from that things. Tiba. What are you talking about? Issei let out a small chuckle. Issei. I took care of that pathetic creature with no problem whatsoever. Riaz narrowed her eyes at the black-haired boy. Riaz. That can't be possible, no human can't take on a fallen angel. Issei. Oh, Riaz. Riaz, you're right, no human can take one of those down. But neither you nor the others in this room are human. This shocked the occult research group that Issei knew that they weren't human. Could he sense their power? Issei. I'm not human either. Riaz. Then what are you? The black-haired boy grew a sinister grin as his eyes glowed. Issei. I'm a Singular Point. Chapter 9. Third-person POV. Previously on Highschool Singular Point. Riaz. Then what are you? The black-haired boy grew a sinister grin as his eyes glowed. Issei. I'm a Singular Point. Now, Issei stared at Riaz, Akeno, Kiba and Kaneko after he just revealed that he wasn't human, but was a Singular Point. The crimson-haired girl narrowed her eyes at the black-haired boy as she wondered what he meant, but then her eyes widened slightly as she could have sworn she saw some red dust come off Issei's clothes. Riaz. That red dust is similar to the one I found at the park and one that Rodin. Did Issei have some sort of connection to the red dust? Is that why he disappeared for a whole week? Cause of the red dust? If what Riaz remembers correctly, the red dust was some sort of trans-dimensional anomaly that extend out to other dimensions. What a Singular Point. What's that all about? Sona never mentioned anything about that. Maybe it had something to do with an archetype. Riaz. A Singular Point. What is that? The black-haired boy let out a small chuckle. Issei. I'm afraid that I cannot tell you what a Singular Point is, but at least you now know that I'm not human. Riaz. I guess you're right. After a short time, everything calmed down as Kiba sat down on the second couch and Issei sat on the couch next to Kaneko. But the black-haired boy was on one end on the couch, while Kaneko was on the other side. Akeno then walked over to Issei, holding a cup in her hands. Akeno. Here's your tea. Issei. Thanks. The black-haired boy took it and took a sip. Issei. It's good. Akeno. Ara, I appreciate your compliment, Fufu. Issei sweat-dropped. Issei. The buck is wrong with this woman. Riaz then cleared her throat which got Issei's attention. Riaz. I'm going to cut to the chase. We are devils. Issei. Wow, very direct. Riaz. By your face, you don't seem surprised. In fact I feel like you don't believe me. Issei. Oh, I do. But I'm not surprised cause why would I be? Like I was attacked by a fallen angel, did I say that right? The crimson-haired girl nodded her head. Issei. Thank you, anyways. Why would I be surprised by some devils if I have already seen a supernatural being? Issei was right, why would he be surprised if he already seen a fallen angel twice and some sort of strange demon? That's what he thinks that Alistair guy is, since he gives off a demonic aura. Riaz. You have a point there, but I'm sure you would also like to know more. The black-haired boy nodded his head as Riaz cleared her throat. Riaz. Very well then, you see there is something called the 3 factions which are made up of 3 groups. The first is angels, the second is fallen angels and the third and final, Issei. Are devils. Riaz nodded her head. Riaz. The 3 factions started thousands of years before the start of the story, after the biblical God cast out angels that opposed his teachings, creating the fallen angels who inhabited in the underworld alongside the devils. Unlike other supernatural groups Norse gods, Hindu gods, Greco-Roman gods, etc., which were apparently more or less independent of each other, these 3 factions were all interconnected. Together, the 3 factions spawned the Judeo-Christian religion and became part of the Bible. So God casted out the angels who didn't obey him. Wow, God sure sounds like a dickhead. Issei had heard stories when he was little that Lucifer had been called both demon and a fallen angel cause he was a son of God. The black-haired boy wondered if Lucifer created both the Devil's and the Fallen Angels factions by himself. It should make sense, unless it was someone else who made the factions. However, there was a war between the three factions. This war went on for an unknown period of time, but eventually it was put to a stop and the three factions went their separate ways. Issei. I see, I'm guessing there were a lot of deaths. Rhea sighed and nodded her head. Issei guessed the most death here on the Devil's side cause both angels and fallen angels basically are Devil's weakness. It's like a predator and prey situation between the three, but one is the prey and the other two are the predators. The black-haired boy almost feels bad for the Devils, nearly being wiped out completely cause your two enemies are basically your weakness. That's basically a Superman and Kryptonite situation, then again Superman never died to Kryptonite, he only got weakened by it. Suddenly, Issei was brought out of his thoughts when Rhea spoke a name. This name is one that Issei knows all too well. Rhea's. Yuma Mono. The crimson-haired girl watched as Issei began to show some anger. He let out a small growl revealing his teeth, which seemed to have changed into canines like an animal. It was clear to them that he did not like hearing Yuma's name again. Issei. Ah, yes, the bitch who pierced me with a spear and left me to die, how could I forget, I can still feel the pain from the scar. Kiba. The scar. The black-haired boy sighed slightly as he began to lift up his shirt, this made Rhea's blush red as Akeno licked her lips. Kaneko on the other hand wasn't fazed by this, but she and everyone else soon grew shocked expressions as they saw what Issei was talking about. On Issei's chest was a really nasty scar, it wasn't fresh, so he must have gotten it when the fallen angel Yuma tried to kill the black-haired boy. But Rhea's was the most shocked, how could she not have seen it? She was in his bed naked with him, plus the scar isn't small. So how the hell could she have missed something that? Maybe it was cause it was dark in the room, but if that was the case how did she not see it when they woke up? Did Issei cover it when he crossed his arms? Or maybe Rhea's was too focused on something else to notice the scar. Rhea's. How did I miss that? The crimson-haired girl cleared her throat. Rhea's. I see, that is a pretty nasty scar, Issei. Tell me, does it hurt? Issei. Only when I expected. Rhea's. And that is, Issei. All the time. Silence filled the room as the occult research club stared at the black-haired boy with expressions of pure shock. Can you blame them? They have just been told that Issei constantly feels pain for his scar, how can he put up with that pain? Maybe it has something to do with him being a singular point. Issei sighed as he lowered his shirt. Issei. Why did she kill me? The black-haired boy knew that there's no way that Yuma just wanted to kill Issei for no reason, there had to be some reason why she did it. Issei had a feeling he knew why he was killed, but he wanted Rhea's to make sure that his theory is correct. Rhea's. The reason she approached you cause she sensed something faint within you, that's why she spent all that time with you. She killed you cause you possessed a sacred gear. Sacred gear. He has heard that word before, Yuma used it before she killed him. She killed him cause of this sacred gear. Whatever is it? Issei. What is a sacred gear? The next one to talk was Kiba. Kiba. A sacred gear is a powerful item that are bestowed upon humans by the God of the Bible. Most of the people who have had their names engraved in human history are considered to possess some sacred gear. Each sacred gear are different, but they are powerful. Akeno. Even today there are people who have sacred gears within them, even some of the most important people in the world have sacred gears in their bodies. Rhea's. However, supernatural beings such as angels, devils, and fallen angels can't possess a sacred gear. Only humans can have a sacred gear. Issei nodded his head in understanding, but he then realized something. Since he dead, does that mean he still has the sacred gear? Or is it not in his body anymore? Issei. Wait, if the person with the sacred gear dies, do they keep the sacred gear? Rhea's. No, when the host dies the sacred gear is transferred to a random person. So that means he doesn't have a sacred gear anymore, but he doesn't really need one, since he is already powerful. Issei. Then I guess I don't have one. Rhea's. That's what I want to ask now. Rhea's grew a serious look as she stared into the black-haired boy's yellow eyes. Rhea's. What happened to you? I arrived in the park to save you. But when I arrived your body was gone, and all that was left was a pile of red dust. Issei. Red dust you say? Rhea's. Yes, the same that I just say full off you. Silence filled the room as Issei narrowed his eyes at the crimson-haired girl. She say the red dust. But he doubts that she knows what it can do. But then again, he doesn't want to throw the idea that she knows a little bit of the red dust. He can't tell anyone what its true purpose is yet at least. Rhea's. What does the red dust do? Why was it on Roden's body? Roden? Does she mean that red creature he sent? That's what they are calling it. Interesting, he'll have to remember that one. Issei simply chuckled. Issei. Vos now sab, vos now sab. This sudden change his voice confused the occult research club as they wondered what Issei was saying. They watched as the black-haired boy held out his hand as they saw some red dust. Rhea's narrowed her eyes as she was correct. The red dust is connected to Is, but what does it all mean? Issei. Imagina que eso now pasa to ritual. Issei then stood up from his chair, he then turned and walked towards the door. Kiba was about to stop the black-haired boy, but Issei simply looked back and grinned, revealing his sharp canes. Issei. Future to MIM. With that, Issei opened the door and left the occult research club room. Riaz and the others were left both shocked and confused. Kiba quickly looked at Riaz. Kiba. Shall I go retrieve him? The crimson-haired girl shook her head. Riaz. No, leave him be. We have more important things to deal with, but just to be safe. Riaz looked over at Kaneko. Riaz. I want you to follow him. Kaneko nodded her head. Time skip. Issei chuckled to himself as he was walking down the street of Kuo Academy. School had just ended and his was heading back home. Despite not wanting to, since he doesn't want to deal with his parents, he had no choice. If he didn't miss one thing, it was them. He just finds them really annoying and they have no purpose in the ritual. Issei. I really don't want to go back home, it's a waste of my time. The black-haired boy then thought of something while he was walking. Where is Alistair? He said that he would be seeing Issei soon, but he has not seen any sign of him. Maybe it's cause it's only been a single day. Or maybe Alistair is just watching him from a distance. Either way, when he sees that guy again, Issei has some questions for him. But the main one was, why did he look exactly why him? Were there others? There were so many questions flowing through the black-haired boy's mind, but he knew that he couldn't answer them all yet. He had to be patient so that he can get what he wants. And he will be very patient, he had plenty of time before the ritual. Suddenly, Issei stopped when he sensed something nearby. At that moment the black-haired boy saw the sky turn purple. Issei. Great, here we go again. So you are him. Issei turned to the voice as the black-haired boy saw someone walking towards him. The person was a tall and buxom woman with brown eyes and long navy blue hair that obscured her right eye. Her attire consisted of a maroon trench coat-like top with a wide collar, a matching miniskirt, and black-heeled shoes. The trench coat top was open at her chest, giving the black-haired boy a view to her breasts and cleavage. She also wore a gold necklace around her neck. Issei sensed the woman's power and felt that it was similar to the dude the black-haired boy defeated yesterday. Issei can't really remember, did that dude die? Or is he still alive? Wait, yeah, Issei reduced that dude to a charred corpse. Issei. And you are? Kalwerner? Forgive me, since this is your only time hearing this. My name is Kalwerner and I'm here to kill you. Issei rolled his eyes. Issei. Not like I haven't heard that be. The black-haired boy was cut off as a light spear pierced his stomach, going all the way through. Issei coughed up blood as Kalwerner smirked evilly. Kalwerner? You were saying? You may have been able to defeat Donaseek, but I am way more stronger than he was. Issei coughed up more blood as Kalwerner summoned another light spear. Kalwerner? This is you. The Phelan angel was cut off as some sort of large tendril made out of blood wrapped around her body. Kalwerner? What the? She looked at Issei and saw that the blood tendril was coming from the wound in his stomach. The black-haired boy looked at the fallen angel and let out a laugh. Hearing this laugh sent a chill down the fallen angel's spine as Issei looked at her with his glowing yellow eyes. Issei. Did you really think it will be that easy? Kalwerner struggled against the tendril as she was then thrown to the ground. The fallen angel grunted in pain as she looked back at Issei and saw his wound being healed really fast. The black-haired boy cracked his neck as he looked at Kalwerner. Issei. Since you took a shot at me, I think it's time I did as well. The fallen angel did know why, but she actually felt afraid of Issei. Normally she would never be afraid of a human or a devil, but she is, that is cause Issei was neither of them, he was something more dangerous. But not just to Kalwerner, he was a danger to everything. Kalwerner? And no stay off. The fallen angel was cut off as Issei unleashed a powerful roar which launched her a good few feet away, but that is not all. The roar also tore up most of the ground, trees and such around the black-haired boy. Kalwerner laid on the ground over it in bruises and marks with blood on her head. That attack was nothing she had ever seen before. Issei let out a chuckle as he slowly began to walk towards the downed Kalwerner. The fallen angel wanted to run away from him. But her body refused to move, it was so it was terrified of him. The black-haired boy soon loomed over the blue-haired woman as he stared down at her with a sinister grin on his face. Issei. Any last words? Kalwerner gulped as she was afraid of the black-haired boy, but she was able to speak. Kalwerner? What are you? A sinister grin formed onto Issei's face, revealing his sharp canines. This made Kalwerner even more scared, but that wasn't the tip of the iceberg. Issei. What am I? Oh, that's Simple. Slowly, a blue glow began to appear in the black-haired boy's mouth. Kalwerner's eyes widened, cause she knew that she may not survive what comes next. Issei. I'm the ferret to Apocalypse. The fallen angel was even more scared as she watched the black-haired boy open his mouth wide, really wide. Stop. Chapter 10. Third-person POV. Previously on Highschool Singular Point. Issei. I'm the ferret to apocalypse. Stop, now. When Issei heard the voice he stopped what he was doing, the blue glow began to die down as the black-haired boy closed his mouth. Who dares tell him to stop? He knew that it wasn't Ria's or any of her servants, whoever told him to stop was much different than. Issei looked around as a small growl escaped his throat, he looked around for the source of the voice. But he also made sure to keep Kalwerner pinned down with his foot, there was no way he was going to let her get away from him. Issei. Who the hell said that? Who told me to stop? I did. Issei quickly turned to the voice and saw who it was, he wanted answers right now. The owner of the voice was a woman with long light blue hair and light red eyes. She also had a pair of gigantic horns. There was something strange about this woman, Issei didn't know why, but something was telling him that this woman will either be an ally or an enemy. The aura he was getting from her was a powerful one that showed that she was not to be messed with. This means that she could be a problem with the ritual, which is something that Issei does not want. But that doesn't matter, how dare she stop him from killing the fallen angel? Issei. Who are you? Why did you stop me? The woman stared at the black-haired boy, this was the thing she sensed. The strange and dangerous power that she felt. It was only a boy, how can this be the danger she felt? Unless he isn't really a boy, but something else. Woman. I should be asking you that you have a dangerous aura, Issei. Yeah. So what if I do? How dare you get in my way? The woman continued to stare at the black-haired boy, her light red eyes staring into the boy's yellow eyes. Those eyes were filled with fury and rage like they were the eyes of a true monster. Tiamat. Tiamat, my name is Tiamat. Tiamat. So that was her name. Issei. Well then, Tiamat. Can you tell me why did you stop me from killing my prey? The black-haired boy gestured to Kalwerner who was trying her best to escape, but she couldn't really move since Issei was preventing her from moving. She didn't bother trying to attack him with her light spear cause she knew that it wouldn't really affect him. After all, she threw one at his stomach and it regenerated like it was nothing. There is also the case of the blood tendrils that he created. Tiamat. I stopped you cause I do not want any more death on the world I created. Issei. You created? You telling me that you created the earth? Tiamat. Yes. Issei chuckled, this was like a dream. Meeting the one who created the world his old self was born on. That would mean that Tiamat is the mother of everyone and everything on earth. But now that Issei is no longer his old self, he is better now. Issei. Interesting, I guess it's wonderful to meet you. Tiamat. Who are you? Another chuckle escaped Issei's mouth, the black-haired boy found it amusing that Tiamat was the mother of everything on earth and she has no idea who he ever is. So much for being the mother of earth, he guesses that she simply didn't care about her children. Issei. Vos now Sabe. Well my dear mother. I will tell you who I am. Tiamat narrowed her eyes as she didn't like the way he said the word mother to her, she knew that he was mocking her. Suddenly, Tiamat noticed a blue glow starting to appear in the black-haired boy's mouth. He was about to unleash an attack. Issei. I'm the ferret to apocalypse. Tiamat. No. Issei unleashed a blue beam onto Kalwerner who was still on the ground, her screams of pain and agony filled the air as Tiamat watched with a horrified expression. She then rushed forwards and punched Issei in the face, this caused the black-haired boy to stumble back as he closed his mouth. Issei. Arg. Tiamat stared down at the burnt Kalwerner who was slowly dying and had tears in her eyes. The light blue-haired boy fell to her knees as she tried to heal the fallen angel. However, it seemed that whatever power Issei had was preventing her from healing Kalwerner. But that didn't mean that Tiamat would give up, she tried again. Tiamat. Come on. The result was the same, so she tried again. Tiamat. Please heal. But the result was the same once again. Tiamat. Why won't it work? Kalwerner coughed up some blood as she held her hand to the sky, she needed air, she needed to breathe but none of that happened. Tiamat held onto Kalwerner's hand as the fallen angels looked at the light blue-haired woman. Tears slowly began to build up in her eyes as she stared at the dying Kalwerner, there was nothing she could do to save her. Tiamat. I'm so sorry, there's nothing I can do. Kalwerner simply smiled as she closed her eyes and died, letting go of Tiamat's hand. The light blue-haired woman remained where she was for a moment before she gritted her teeth and her gaze turned to Issei. The black-haired boy adjusted his jaw as he had to admit that Tiamat was really strong, if it wasn't for his durability, then either his entire lower jaw or his head would have been taken off. Tiamat. You. Issei looked at Tiamat who was giving him a fierce glare, one filled with hatred and fury. Tiamat. How dare you? Issei. How dare I what? Take a life of some pathetic creature. Hearing that caused Tiamat to go silent, he just killed life and he's calling it pathetic. How dare he say something like that, especially in front of her. Issei just stared at Tiamat who was now staring at the ground with her hair shadowing her eyes. The black-haired boy narrowed his yellow eyes as he was struck in the face by Tiamat. This attack caused Issei to be sent flying a good few feet before crashing into the ground. The black-haired boy growled as he brought himself back to his feet. He growled once again as he glared at Tiamat who glared back at him, both eyes were filled with hatred and fury for each other. Issei cracked his neck. Issei. Looks like I have to put you in your place. Tiamat didn't say anything, but she soon did say something, but it wasn't words. Tiamat. Lie. Tiamat unleashed a powerful roar-like scream which caused Issei to be pushed back a good few feet. This angered the black-haired boy. How dare someone thinks they can mess with him, doesn't she know who he is? He is the one that will Akaber Kamatera. If she was gonna roar at Issei, then the black-haired boy will do the same, only much better than hers. Issei. Screeonk. Issei's roar filled the air as it echoed throughout Kuo, causing cars to go off. The ground shook and rumbled from the roar as well. The black-haired boy charged towards Tiamat, with the intention of either beating her or killing her. Tiamat charged towards Issei as well. She was gonna end this bloodshed, even if it meant killing another life. Normally she would never do such a thing, but Issei already has blood on his hands. When the two clashed, it caused a massive shockwave throughout Kuo. The ground shook as windows cracked. Tiamat knew that she couldn't unleash her true power in Kuo, otherwise, there will be many deaths on her hands. So she got an idea, she'll just take Issei somewhere she can properly fight him. Issei's eyes were full on hatred and fury, as his fingers seemed to change into claws. He swung his claws at Tiamat, who dodged. This only angered the black-haired, who let out a growl, and a familiar blue glow began to appear in his mouth. Tiamat saw this as the light blue-haired woman quickly opened a portal behind Issei and shoved him into the portal. Issei roared as Tiamat soon jumped into the portal after the black-haired boy. This time he was facing her on her home turf. Issei landed in a strange place. The black-haired boy looked around as he let out a small growl. Where did Tiamat bring him? He had no idea what this place was, but if it was gonna be a battlefield then so be it. Issei soon noticed the light blue-haired woman landing as well. Issei. Why did you bring me here? Tiamat. To make sure you do not kill anymore. Issei wanted to laugh. Does this woman really think she can stop him? He would like to see her try. Issei. You know what? It doesn't matter, I'll just kill you. Tiamat watched as the black-haired boy slowly began to open his mouth as blue rings started to appear. The light blue-haired woman already knew what this was due to the fact that the black-haired boy already used it on the fallen angel. Issei then unleashed his blue beam of energy at Tiamat. However, Tiamat was able to dodge the attack as Issei turned his direction that Tiamat was to try and hit her. But the light blue-haired woman continued to dodge the black-haired boy's attack. Before long the beam went away as Issei closed his mouth. This allowed Tiamat to attack. Tiamat. Primordial flame. Tiamat held her hand out as she unleashed a beam of light blue-green flames at Issei. The black-haired body dodged as he opened his mouth to unleash his own attack. But Tiamat was faster than him and unleashed another primordial flame. This caused Issei to let out a roar as he stumbled back. Issei. The hell, why did that hurt me? So far nothing has really caused Issei pain. Sure, getting stabbed would have caused pain, but he had already been stabbed multiple times. But this wasn't anything that the black-haired boy has felt before. Issei growled as Tiamat watched as the black-haired boy's body began to change. He grew taller to around 6 feet tall. His teeth sharpened more. His fingers and toes became claws which caused his shoes to be ripped. The black-haired boy's shirt ripped as Tiamat saw that he gained some sort of plate-like objects on his back and sprouted a really long tail. This shocked the light blue-haired woman as Issei growled at her. He then charged towards Tiamat and threw a punch that Tiamat didn't have time to block. This punch landed in the light blue-haired woman's face, which sent her flying back until she landed in the small lake. Tiamat felt her body shake from the pain as she stood back up. She had never taken such a powerful strike before. She had taken on beings such as Office and Great Red and have tied with them, but neither of their punches compares to the one that she just took. Tiamat. It's like he powered up to a stage that's nearly or is equal to a dragon god, but that's impossible. She then saw Issei unleash another blue beam, but this time not at her. No, the black-haired boy's target was the waterfall behind Tiamat. The beam cut through the stone like butter and caused rocks to fall. Tiamat. Crap. The light blue-haired woman attempted to use her power to fly out of way, but she was a little too late cause she was soon buried alive. Issei walked over to the lake edge and growled at the water, basically telling Tiamat to get back up if she dares. If she does then he will finish her off, he will not lose to someone like her. After a moment of silence though, the black-haired boy snorted and began to turn and walk away. As he was walking through, red dust began to cover off his body and start to cover the ground, the plants, and everything else around him. This was one of his abilities, terraforming. He will use the red dust and cover this whole new place with it, and when he gets back he'll do the same if he has to. Nothing will stop him from completing the ritual. However, the black-haired boy soon stopped when he felt the ground shake and rumble. This confused him at first, but he soon turned and growled as he saw a glow coming from the water. Issei. So, she is still alive. Doesn't matter. I'll just finish her off. Issei turned and stared at the glow in the water, which slowly started to get brighter and brighter. It got to the point that the black-haired boy had to cover his eyes from the light. He didn't need to go blind in the middle of a battle, that would leave him at a disadvantage. And it seems like he is gonna need all the advantages possible, cause he knew that what was coming was not gonna be an easy fight. Issei growled as he watched something burst out of the water. It was Tiamat. But she was different this time, she was also taller, her horns were bigger, and she had a wide X in both her eyes. Speaking of her eyes, they glowed a menacing red that would leave anyone terrified, but Issei wasn't scared of her. No, he was more enraged that his opponent isn't dead. No one has ever survived more than a few seconds with him, maybe it's cause Tiamat is more powerful than his previous prey. Or maybe, it's cause Issei might be weak. No, there is no way Issei is weak, he refuses to think such a thing. He may have been weak back in his old back, a weak, fragile and helpless pervert who only cared about breast. But he is no longer his old self, he is much more, he is a singular point. Issei. Screeonk. Issei let out another roar as he began to charge towards the newly changed Tiamat, with basically no care whatsoever of what she could possibly do in this new form. Tiamat remained where she was as Issei got closer to her, but as the black-haired boy went in for a claw swing, he was then punched in the stomach, which sent him flying until he crashed into a tree. Issei growled as he glared at Tiamat, who just remained where she saw. The black-haired boy's backplates began to slowly glow blue as he opened his mouth and 7 rings formed. Issei then unleashed a powerful blue beam at the light blue-haired girl. But it was all for nothing cause Tiamat simply fired a beam of red energy which overpowered Issei's. This caused Tiamat's beam to hit the black-haired boy and push him back. For the first time, Issei was left shocked. His attack was overpowered, that can't be possible. No, he refused to believe that. Issei. And no. Issei's eyes were filled with more and more hatred and rage as he glared at Tiamat. He roared in fury as he charged towards her. This surprised Tiamat cause the black-haired boy was moving more faster than before. But this wasn't anything that she couldn't handle. Issei jumped and threw a punch, but Tiamat easily blocked the attack like it was nothing. Issei growled as he continued to throw punch after punch, but none of them reached. But the black-haired boy kept at it, he wasn't gonna give up until one landed and caused at last something to Tiamat. After a good minute or two, he finally did it. He finally landed a punch on Tiamat, it was a powerful one to her face. However, the black-haired boy's eyes widened in shock as he saw that his punch didn't even leave a mark on the light blue-haired woman. Tiamat slowly looked and glared at Issei. Tiamat. My turn. Issei took this chance to try and jump back, he needed to get some distance from Tiamat. But when he did, the light blue-haired woman simply appeared in front of him. Tiamat then delivered a powerful blow to the black-haired boy, which caused him to cough up some blood. Issei fell to his knees as he coughed up blood, shocking him even more. This can't be happening, this can't be real. After everything he has been through, after all that pain and torture he had to endure, is this where it all ends? Is this gonna be where he dies? The black-haired boy gritted his teeth as he stared at the ground. Tiamat watched as Issei did something that confused her. She saw him open his mouth, but there was no blue glow. But something did come out, it was like some sort of weird air thing. It covered the entire ground and when it touched Tiamat, it caused her to jump back. It was cold, really cold. She had never felt something so cold before. However, she knew that he was up to something. She had to stop him here and now before anything happens. Tiamat. It's time for you to chill out. The blue glow covered Tiamat's right hand as she unleashed a wave of ice towards Issei. When it made contact with him, it froze the black-haired boy. Issei was frozen in the position of him on his hands and knees, unleashing that strange breath thing. But since he is now frozen solid, whatever he was doing stopped. Tiamat closed her eyes. Tiamat, I am sorry, young one. But I can't let you cause any more death and destruction. She then opened her light red eyes and stared at the frozen body of Issei. Tiamat. If I allowed you to continue, you would have become the incarnate of despair and hopelessness. That is something I can't let happen, life must continue. Of course, Tiamat got no response because she froze Issei, she didn't want to, but she had no other choice. It was either stop the black-haired boy right now or watch as everything she created be destroyed by a monster. Tiamat. You put up a good fight, but in the end, you were weak. However, unknown to Tiamat, Issei could hear everything she was saying crystal clear, and let's just say when she called him weak, that caused something within him to snap. She dare call him weak. She had no idea what true power was. She called him a monster. The incarnate of despair and hopelessness, if she wanted one then, she'll get one. Chapter 11, Third Person POV. Previously on Highschool Singular Point. She called him a monster. The incarnate of despair and hopelessness, if she wanted one then, she'll get one. Now, Issei's eyes opened as he found himself in some sort of void, an infinite black abyss of nothingness. No sight or any light or life for miles and miles, Issei couldn't believe it. He was back in his hell, he was back in the place he hated the most. Issei. Look, I'm back here. The black-haired boy looked at himself as he saw that he was back in his regular form and his clothes weren't ripped. Seems like whenever he comes to this place it fixes him up while also reducing him back to his normal form. This is strange and annoying, cause what happens if he returns to the fight and is in his regular form? The fight Issei remembered being frozen by Tiamat's ice powers, he remembered her calling him weak. A low growl escaped the black-haired boy's throat as his eyes were filled with hatred. Issei. I'm gonna make her eat those words. And how do you accept to do that? Hearing a voice surprised Issei, the black-haired boy didn't think that anyone else would be in a place like this. Issei turned to the voice to see who it was. But when he did, his eyes widened in shock at what he saw. Issei. How is this possible? A chuckle was heard from the voice. Pause, it is Singular Point, or shall I call you by our real name? Issei? Issei Hyoudou. Issei couldn't believe his eyes, the owner of the voice was himself. But this one looked like his old self, back when he was a perverted nobody. Issei. How is this possible? How are you me when I am me? The other Issei chuckled. Other Issei. It's cause I am you, I'm your other half. The part that you have been missing ever since the day we were stabbed by Yuuma's light spear. Issei. My other half. The other Issei nodded his head as he began to look the black-haired boy up and down, taking in all the differences between them both. Other Issei. Wow, you certainly look way better than me. I wonder if you have a harem yet. I hope they had big boobs. Issei couldn't help but raise an eyebrow at his other self's action. Did the black-haired boy really used to think like that when he was a pervert? No wonder he never got any girlfriends back then. Well, he technically still doesn't have any. But that is only cause Issei doesn't care about getting one anymore. Why would he? If he didn't get any back, then he will certainly not get any now, but then again there was that note he found. The black-haired boy sighed and shook his head, getting the thoughts of that note out of his mind. He then looked at the other Issei, who still had a perverted expression slapped on his face. Issei. So, why are you here? How did you get into my hell? The brown-haired boy snapped out of whatever he was doing and went back to normal. He then looked at Issei and raised an eyebrow. Other Issei. Hell. What are you talking about? Issei. This is my hell. I have suffered endless pain and torture for so many years. All my cries, all my begs for it to stop were just echoes that joined this endless abyss. The other Issei simply looked at the black-haired boy before starting to laugh like he heard a really good joke. This angered Issei that the brown-haired boy was laughing at his pain. Issei. You dare laugh at my suffering. The other Issei soon stopped laughing and looked at Issei. Other Issei. Oh no, I'm not laughing at your suffering. I'm laughing at the fact that you think that this place is some sort of personal hell for you. It isn't. This got Issei's attention as he raised an eyebrow in confusion. What was he talking about? How is this not a hell? It has to be one. All the pain, all the suffering he went through, all the times his body felt like it was being torn apart and put back together, only to be torn apart again. The times he cried for help as he was being burned alive or being slashed into millions of pieces. The black-haired boy glared at the brown-haired boy. Issei. How is this not a hell? Do you not understand the pain I went through? The other Issei raised his hands in defense. Other Issei. Hey. Calm down, I understand what you went through and I'm sorry, but what I'm trying to say is this isn't hell. This is actually your mindscape. This caused Issei to calm down as he raised an eyebrow. Mindscape? What the hell is that? Issei. Mindscape? What do you mean? Other Issei. You see, a mindscape is basically a place within your mind where we can talk to each other. Issei. So, you're saying that this place is really within my mind? The other Issei nodded his head. Other Issei. Yes, and all the pain and suffering you went through was only within your mind while your body changed. Issei went silent as he looked at his hands, they shook slightly as he began to think. All the pain he went through, all the suffering he had to endure was simply within his mind. Issei. All I went through was just within my mind. The other Issei nodded his head. Other Issei. Yes, I'm not sure why you had to endure it within here, cause the change is not that painful. But I'm sure you would have felt really tired. Issei still couldn't believe what he was hearing, he was never in some sort of hell. All this time he was just in his mindscape being tortured when he was never meant to be tortured. The black-haired boy felt so furious, but he soon let out a sigh and calmed down. Issei. So, why are you here? Cause there's no way you are here just to tell me that. The other Issei smiled at the black-haired boy. Other Issei. You're right, I'm here to help you with your little or shall I say big dragon problem. That's right, Issei was currently frozen solid thanks to Tiamat's power. He had her on the run and thought he defeated her, but turns out that wasn't the case. Apparently, she had some other form and it was more powerful than her regular form. She easily took him down. Issei didn't have a chance to do anything to her. Issei. I don't get it, I had to go through so much to be powerful. I am supposed to be something that everything fears, but why am I so weak? Other Issei. It's cause you are incomplete. This got the black-haired boy's attention. Issei. I'm incomplete. What do you mean? How am I incomplete? The other Issei chuckled as he crossed his arms. Other Issei. It's cause you and I have not merged to become one yet. This surprised the black-haired boy. Issei. You and I have to merge. The brown-haired boy nodded his head. Issei. Then, let's do it. Let us merge and become one. Other Issei. No. This shocked the black-haired boy that his other self refused to merge with him. Why? Why would he refuse? Issei. Why? Why refuse? The other Issei closed his eyes as he snapped his fingers when he did the love letter that Issei found in his locket appeared. Issei. That letter. Other Issei. Yeah, this is why I won't merge with you. This confused the black-haired boy even more. Why cause of that love letter? Issei. Why? Other Issei. When you got this letter, you simply brushed it off like it was a piece of trash. Do you have any idea how the girl who made this letter feels now? Issei. No, cause why would I care? This made the brown-haired boy sigh in annoyance. Other Issei. I may have been a pervert, but at least I knew the feelings of a girl in a way. The black-haired boy then pieced it together and realized what his other half was talking about. This both shocked and angered him that his other half would think such a thing. Issei. Are you saying that I should accept the feelings of the girl who wrote that letter out of the question? I am a singular point. I don't have time for that shit. The other Issei sighed. Other Issei. Then you will never become what you are always meant to be. Those words right there stabbed into Issei like daggers. Those words echoed throughout the black-haired boy's mind as he went silent. Accept the feelings of the one who made the love letter. He doesn't even know why wrote it. How is he supposed to accept the girl's feelings if he doesn't even know who the girl is? For all he knows, the girl could be just a random girl that he doesn't even know. Issei. Well, even if I did agree, I don't even know who the girl is. So how am I supposed to accept their feelings if I don't know who they are? The other Issei chuckled at the black-haired boy. He then showed him the letter. Dear Hyoudou. I know you and I don't really see eye to eye most of the time, especially back when you were a pervert, but I just want to say that I love you. You may not feel the same, but that's alright. I don't blame you. From someone, you know. Other Issei. See anything? Issei deadpanned at the brown-haired boy. Issei. No, I don't. The other Issei smirked as he snapped his fingers and showed the black-haired boy something that was in the corner of the letter. It was writing, tiny writing that made it hard to make out what it was saying. Issei. Tiny writing. Other Issei. Yep, and if I make it clearer for you. The brown-haired boy snapped his fingers as the words became clearer. Issei then saw what it said, and he was shocked. Love from Aika. Issei. Aika, Issei's classmate. Well known to be a female pervert who can easily tell the time of a male's dick just by looking at their crotch. The black-haired boy remembers calling her cute, which shocked his classmates, but he only said that as a compliment to her. Did she have feelings for him before he changed? Or did she just recently start making feelings for him? The other Issei nodded his head. Other Issei. Yes, she cares about you, but she is just too scared to tell you. She thinks that you won't accept her feelings cause she thinks you hate her. Issei. I don't hate her. Other Issei. If you don't hate her, then will you accept her feelings? Silence was the only answer the other Issei got as the black-haired boy simply looked down, not sure how to answer the brown-haired boy's question. Should he accept Aika's feelings? No, he has no time for love, he has to complete the ritual, that's all that matters. But if he doesn't, then he won't be whole, Tiamat may kill him, and everything he has been through will be for nothing. The black-haired boy was torn from his decision. Should he? Should he not? He doesn't know, he just doesn't know. Suddenly, Issei realized something. He had all the time to complete the ritual, he didn't have to complete it right away. Plus, what's the worst thing that could happen by accepting Aika's feelings? Like, it's not like he's eventually gonna break down upset cause of her death or something. Issei looked up at the brown-haired boy in front of him. The other Issei noticed that the black-haired boy had a face of determination. Issei. I accept her feelings. The brown-haired boy smiled at his counterpart. Other Issei. About time. The black-haired boy couldn't help but smile at his counterpart. Issei. Thanks for everything. Other Issei. No worries, now let's beat this dragon. The other Issei began to turn transparent as he walked towards Issei. The black-haired boy watched as the other Issei merged with him. A small smirk grew on Issei's face. Issei. Now we are one. From within the ice, Issei's eye shot open as his pupil became slit. Slowly a blue glow began to appear from within the ice. This got Tiamat's attention as she turned and looked at the ice. Tiamat. What the? Slowly, cracks began to appear in the ice as Tiamat watched with a surprised expression. Tiamat. It's not possible. Suddenly, the ice shattered as Issei arose from the ice and let out a loud roar. This roar was much louder than his previous roar, it was so powerful that it nearly knocked Tiamat off her feet. Issei. Screeonk. Tiamat. What is this? Just a few minutes ago he was defeated and now he's back. Did his power increase or something? It's rising and rising. The primordial mother then noticed something, his appearance changed a little. His tail grew longer, the spikes on his back looked different as well, and his hair it was now white as snow. When Issei stopped roaring, Tiamat noticed something else, the rage in his eyes. It was like a raging inferno that will never rest. Tiamat remained on guard, she didn't know what he was gonna do so she prepared herself. Issei stared at the primordial mother as a toothy grin formed on his face. Issei. It's time to end this with one single attack. Tiamat. A single attack? Is he crazy? The primordial mother soon narrowed her eyes. If he was gonna attack, then so shall she. Tiamat slowly began to create an attack within her mouth. Issei did the same, but this time his back spikes were glowing a different color. This time they were glowing crimson red instead of bright blue. However, Tiamat didn't notice this, and she took too long for her attack cause the white-haired boy unleashed his attack, which was a beam attack similar to his previous ones, but this one was crimson red in color. The attack nailed Tiamat in the chest, sending the primordial mother flying back, making her stop her build-up. Tiamat. Arg. Tiamat then crashed into the ground as Issei continued to unleash his attack upon the primordial mother. Tiamat roared in pain and agony, but Issei soon stopped, causing the glow to fade. Tiamat groaned in pain as she looked at the white-haired boy. Tiamat. Why did you stop? Issei. You're defeated, there's no reason to kill you. The primordial mother slowly tried to get up, this was only a setback. She still had to defeat him and prevent any more deaths. Issei. Don't bother getting back up, this battle is done. Tiamat gritted her teeth. Tiamat. No, I won't let you kill any more innocent lives. There will be no more bloodshed. The white-haired boy simply chuckled. Issei. Then you better be ready to face me, the Faradoo apocalypse in my Ultima Forma. After hearing those words, Tiamat's eyes widened as she stared at the white-haired boy with fear in her eyes. Issei simply smirked as he began to walk away. He didn't know how to get back home, but he was sure gonna find a way. After all, he had something to do, he had a certain someone to go see. And he will be damned if something prevents him from seeing this person. Teasers, the sky of this earth. Issei walked with Aika next to him, the brown-haired girl holding his arm. It was so blue once. Issei glared at a white-haired priest with an insane grin on his face. In his bands were gun and sword. But this new era. Issei stood in front of Rias, protecting Aika, who stood behind him. Shows a planet inhabiting a dangerous monster. Issei growled as his eyes were filled with fury and hatred. The song echoes. Aika sat on Issei's bed, humming a lullaby to the black-haired boy. That's the call of tomorrow. Issei stood at his window, staring at the rising sun as his pupils were normals before they suddenly became slit. From the skies you will see an attack by a band of rodents. Multiple rodents reaching in the thousands flew through the air, leaving a red cloud as they flew. A living legend will come. Issei entered the orc with Aika, seeing Rias, the others, a grey-haired maid and a blonde-haired man. The red dust is always present. Multiple buildings, trees, and even the ground is covered in the red dust as rodents flew over. The catastrophe can kill you. The blonde-haired man's eyes widened as he took a step back in fear. Bear witness. The large shadow began to rise over the blonde-haired man. Issei Ultima Forma. The loud and powerful roar was heard that shook the entire planet. Chapter 12. After defeating the primordial mother, Tiamat, and managing to get out of whatever dimension he was in, Issei began to make his way towards Aika's house. It didn't take long before he arrived at her house, and to say he wasn't surprised by how big it looked would be a lie. The black-haired boy stared at the huge house in front of him as he stood at the front gate. Issei. Whoa, so this is Aika's house. Gotta say, she has a pretty nice place. Issei entered through the front gate and made his way towards the front door. When he got to the front door, he began to knock at the door. A sigh escaped the black-haired boy's mouth as he still couldn't believe he was doing this. Then again, he promised his other half that he would do it. If he didn't, then he wouldn't be complete, he wouldn't have been able to defeat Tiamat, and he would probably be dead. But he is still conflicted if he should think about getting another girlfriend, since his previous one basically killed him. But he'll cross that bridge when it gets to that point. For now, he doesn't have to worry about it. Issei waited and waited for a response, but eventually, he got nothing but silence. Issei. I guess no one's home. I guess I should leave. Before Issei finished his sentence, the front door opened, and the black-haired boy was greeted by the sight of Aika. Aika. Yee. The brown-haired girl's eyes widened as she blushed slightly when she saw that it was Issei who was at the front door. Aika. Issei, what are you doing here? The black-haired boy scratched the back of his head. Issei. I came to see you, I wondered if you wanted to hang out with me. Aika's face became red when she heard Issei ask if she would want to hang out with him. She didn't expect this from Issei. Aika. Oh really? The black-haired boy nodded his head. Issei. Though, if you don't want to, Aika. No, I would like to hang out with you. Issei was surprised by Aika's sudden response, but the black-haired boy couldn't help but smile. Maybe he was glad that Aika accepted his offer to hang out. Aika. Well, do you want to come on in? Issei. Oh, sure. The brown-haired girl moved to the side as Issei walked into the house. Aika closed the door as the black-haired boy saw the inside of Aika's house. Issei. Whoa, you sure got some nice paintings. Aika giggled slightly. Aika. Thanks, my mom loves to paint. Oh, speaking of my mom, we should introduce you to her. Issei. Oh, okay then. Both Issei and Aika then made their way into the kitchen. When they did, they were greeted by Aika's mother, who was washing some dishes. Aika. Hey mom, a friend is over for a visit. Really? Issei took this chance to take in Aika's mother's appearance. She was a slender woman with a prominent bust, slender waist, and stands just a bit shorter than the black-haired boy. She had long wavy brown hair that is braided around her head and tied with a blue and red bow around the back. She wore a one-piece gown with a revealing top and a blue corset with a metal guard. She wore elbow guards with blue and red stripes and white gloves on her hands. She also wore metal boots and shin guards. Issei had to admit that Aika's mother looked rather young, unlike the black-haired boy's own mother who looked way older. Oh my, it's true, my little girl has someone over. Aika blushed a little from her mother's words. Aika. Mom, don't embarrass me. Aika's mother giggled as Issei couldn't help but chuckle. The brown-haired woman then looked at the black-haired boy. Mamako. I guess I should introduce myself. I am Aika's mother, Mamako. Issei. I'm Issei Hyoudou, it's a pleasure to meet you, miss. Mamako smiled and looked at Aika. Mamako. Aika, your friend is such a gentleman, maybe he'll be the one you marry and give me grandbabies. Aika's face went bright red after hearing those words. Issei couldn't help but sweat drop cause even his own mother has been asking him to get a girlfriend and give her grandbabies to spoil. Though if that was to happen, then the two better be ready to wait an extremely long time. Mamako then looked at Issei and smiled. Mamako. So Issei, would you like anything to eat or drink? Issei. At the moment no. But thank you for asking. Mamako. Alright then, you two go and have some fun. Aika. Mom. Mamako giggled as Aika began to lead Issei out of the kitchen. They soon arrived at a staircase and began to walk up. Issei. Your mom seems nice. The brown-haired girl sighed. Aika. Yeah, though she can be annoying sometimes. Issei simply smiled. Issei. That just proves that she cares about you, she must want the best for you. Aika. I guess. Before long the duo arrived at Aika's room, they entered and when they did Issei saw how cool it looked. Issei stared at the bedroom and he was left in awe. Why the hell was her bedroom so much better than the one at his place? Issei. Why the hell is yours so much better? Aika giggled as she shrugged her shoulders. Aika. Not sure, but what do you think? Issei. I think I'm jealous. The brown-haired girl giggled at the black-haired boy's words as Issei smiled slightly. He didn't want to admit it, Aika's giggle sounded very cute. Aika. Why don't you have a seat on the bed? Issei. Okay then. Issei then sat on the bed as Aika sat down next to him. Aika. So, what do you want to do? Issei began to think of what they could do, though the black-haired boy wasn't sure since he originally came here to tell Aika about that love letter she gave him. Speaking of which, Issei better talk about that with her and get things over with. But he doesn't want to sound like a jerk, besides the ritual could be taking place at any time, so he could wait a few days to a week. Issei shrugged his shoulders. Issei. I'm not sure, what do you have? Aika. Well, we could play video games, watch some TV or maybe even sing. Wait, do you even sing? The black-haired boy shrugged his shoulders. Issei. Don't know, never tried. Never really saw a point in singing. Aika. Well, why don't you give it a try? Maybe you'll be good at it. The black-haired boy thought about it, he really wasn't a singer, so he could end up doing terrible. But he's sure that Aika won't judge him, so maybe he can give it a try. Issei. Alright then, I'll give it a shot. The black-haired boy stood up and cleared his throat as Aika brought out her phone and played some random music. Smoke in my lungs, blood on my tongue, I'm here to make the devil cry. It's like a drug. When I'm on the hunt, I'm gonna wake the war inside. Out somewhere in the ocean, it was all but quiet. But that quiet was soon gone when multiple rodents launched out of the water and began to fly into the air. These looked the same rodent that Ria's and her peerage face when they went to hunt that stray devil, though this time instead of there being one there were now hundreds if not thousands of rodents. Each of the rodents roared loudly as they began to fly in random directions. As they flew through the air they began to leave a red cloud. Stare at the sun, do it for fun, this is the way I live my life, this is the way I live my life, this is the way I live my life. Aika stared at the black-haired boy with an expression of complete awe, she didn't think he was capable of singing like this. She had known Issei for a very long time, basically since Kuo Academy allowed boys to attend, and she knew a lot about him. But she had no idea about this whatsoever. Listen to me now, listen to me now, it's coming down to the two of us, let me show you how, listen to me now, it's coming down to the two of us. As Aika continued to watch Issei sing, she watched as the black-haired boy closed his eyes for a moment before opening them again. But when he did that, the brown-haired girl's eyes widened as she saw the black-haired boy's eyes change, his pupils changed to become slits. I'm here to rumble, I'm here to rumble, get ready for thunder, cause I'm here to rumble, I'm here to rumble, I'm here to rumble. In an unknown location, what seemed like an abandoned facility was an unknown figure. This figure resembled a teenage boy, but with glowing red eyes that looked robotic. The figure seemed to be working on something, but they soon stopped what they were doing. It was as if they sensed something powerful. Detecting energy surge, location singular point. Ladies and gents, I won't pretend. I think I forgot my medicine. They'll think I'm a mess. But I'm making sense. I feel it in my skeleton. I know I'm intense. I'll cut the suspense. I'm here to take down everyone. I'm here to take down everyone. I'm here. In another unknown location, what seemed to be a very dark forest. One that had no light, no life in it whatsoever. But there was life, well in the form of a mysterious being. The being seemed to be a teenage boy with black eyes with red iris, he had razor-sharp teeth and some black tears on his face. The being chuckled as he licked some blood off his fingers, but then he seemed to have sensed something which caused him to look at the sky. Ah, singular point. Seems that he is starting the ritual again haha. A sinister grin formed on the being's face. Well, can't let him have all the fun. I'm here to rumble. I've got danger in my favor like a razor. I'm here to rumble. I'm in breaker, it's my nature. Get ready for thunder. Cause I'm here to rumble. I'm here to rumble. I'm here to rumble. I'm here to rumble. I'm here to rumble now. I'm here to rumble. Issei stopped for a moment as he took a deep breath. Memories flashed through the black-haired boy's mind as he continued. Listen to me now. Listen to me now. It's coming down to the two of us. Let me show you how. Listen to me now. It's coming down to the two of us. Listen to me now. Listen to me now. It's coming down to the two of us. Let me show you how. Listen to me now. It's coming down to the two of us. I'm here to rumble. I'm here to rumble. I've got danger in my favor like a razor. I'm here to rumble. I'm in breaker. It's my nature. Get ready for thunder. Cause I'm here to rumble. I've got danger in my favor like a razor. I'm here to rumble. I'm in breaker. It's my nature. Get ready for thunder. Cause I'm here to rumble. With that, Issei had finished singing. The black-haired boy began to pant slightly as his eyes returned to normal. He looked at Aika who was staring at him with an expression of both shock and awe. There were two reasons for these two expressions. The first reason was that she still couldn't believe that Issei could sing like that. She expected it to be a little bad, but the black-haired boy sang like he was some sort of professional singer. The reason for why she was shocked, well, it was because of Issei's pupils. She thought she was seeing things, but she wasn't. She actually saw them turn into slits. Aika. Issei. Yes. Aika. Did your pupils just become like those of a reptile? The black-haired boy froze as he cursed himself. He didn't want Aika to know the truth about what he really was. But he knew that she would have found out the truth sooner or later, cause she might follow him to the orc and discover that Rias and the others are devils. The black-haired boy doesn't care about the safety of Rias or the others, but he doesn't want them to do anything to Aika. He swore that if they even thought about laying a finger on her, he will show them why he is a singular point. Wait, why does Issei care this much? He can't be actually caring for Aika this much. Right. Anyways, he guessed he should tell her just to keep her safe. Issei let out a small sigh as he sat on the bed. Issei. Okay. I guess I should tell you, but I have a question. Aika. And that is. Issei. I wouldn't say that, singular point. Chapter 13, third person POV. Previously on Highschool Singular Point. Issei. I wouldn't say that, singular point. Now, the sudden voice that cut Issei off caused Aika to look around, trying to find where the voice came from. Aika. What was that? Issei let out a sigh of annoyance as he turned and looked at a dark corner of Aika's bedroom. The brown-haired girl looked over as well as she saw the black-haired boy's pupils change again. Issei. I know you're there, so come out. A small chuckle was heard as something rose from the shadows. Aika's eyes widened as she saw a strange figure with a huge grin on his face. The figure chuckled as Aika saw that the figure's eyes looked like something from old-fashioned radio. I knew that you would sense me, Issei. Why are you here, Alistair? Alistair chuckled once again as he still had a huge grin on his face. Alistair. As I said, you and I will be seeing each other again. Though I did not expect this, Issei. Expect what? Alistair. You hanging out with a human, normally you get the ritual started. Aika stared at the two with an expression of confusion. What was Alistair talking about? What ritual? So many questions were flowing through the brown-haired girl's mind. She had no idea who this Alistair guy was or how he just appeared in her room. Issei. Well, Alistair, let's just say I'm taking things slow. Alistair. I see. Alistair then looked over at Aika as he still had the smile or grin on his face, but it seemed to grow more when he saw the brown-haired girl. Alistair. Ah, Aika. It's so good to see you again. It's been quite a while, even if you're not my Aika. This caught Aika's attention. She wondered what he meant by that. His Aika. He's saying that as if there was another her. Aika. What are you talking about? Who even are you? Alistair chuckled. Alistair. Well, as singular point said, my name is Alistair. But I go by another name. Aika. And that is? Alistair titled his head as his appearance seemed to flicker. This caused Aika's eyes to widen in shock from what she saw. Alistair. Issei Hyoudou. Aika was left absolutely speechless from Alistair's words. She couldn't believe what she was seeing and hearing. She wished that she was dreaming, but she knew that she wasn't. Aika. How are you, Issei? Alistair chuckled. Alistair? Well, that is cause I am from another universe. Aika's eyes widen, another universe that should be impossible, those can't be real. Alistair seemed to have noticed the brown-haired girl's reaction. Alistair? I know what you're thinking, it should be impossible for there to be another universe. But trust me, it is true. But there are more and more, Issei. So, the multiverse theory is true. The multiverse is a hypothetical group of multiple universes. Together, these universes comprise everything that exists, the entirety of space, time, matter, energy, information, and the physical laws and constants that describe them. Anything could happen in the multiverse. There could be a universe about anything, such as a universe where Issei is a female, a universe where the world is set in the medieval age, or maybe even a universe where people can be heroes or villains. Alistair looked at the black-haired boy and nodded his head. Alistair? Indeed, it is correct. Aika. See, can I ask you something? Alistair looked at Aika. Alistair? Why, of course, darling. Maybe I will have the answer to your question. Aika. How did you end up like this? A smile on Alistair's face remained as he sighed slightly. Alistair? That, my dear, is a long tale, one that I'm sure you don't want to hear. If anything, Singular Point's story is way better than mine. Alistair chuckled as Issei crossed his arms. Issei. Geez, you find anything amusing, don't ya? Alistair. The black-haired boy sighed and shook his head. Issei. Whatever, can you leave now or am I not allowed to tell Aika? Alistair took a moment and began to think to himself, but it didn't take long before he spoke again. Alistair? Well, since she now knows I'm you. I don't see why not, but remember Singular Point. If you tell her, she will now be part of the ritual. Issei went silent, the black-haired boy had not thought about that. If he told her, that means she will know what he is up to, and he can't let anyone know about the ritual. Alistair chuckled at the black-haired boy's reaction as he looked at Aika and bowed slightly. Alistair? Have a good day, Aika, and remember. With that, Alistair turned into a shadow and disappeared, leaving both Issei and Aika the only ones left in the room. Silence filled the room as Aika stared at the spot where Alistair once stood, still shocked about what had just happened. But it didn't take long before Aika looked at the black-haired boy. Aika? I say, this is some kind of joke, right? Issei shook his head as he looked at the brown-haired girl, letting her stare into his now reptilian-like eyes. Issei. No, this isn't a joke. It's all real. Aika. A sigh escaped the black-haired boy's mouth as he sat down next to Aika. Issei. I guess I should explain. Aika. Why yeah, please explain. Issei. Fine then, so it started when. Issei. And so, after I defeated that so-called primordial mother I came here and well that's about it. Aika was left absolutely speechless from what she has just heard. For starters, the supernatural exists. How has no one else found out about this? Then again, Issei did tell her that they preferred to stay hidden. Second, apparently, Issei got killed by something called a fallen angel and had to go through endless pain and suffering only to transform into something called a singular point. Aika. I can't believe it. Issei. Yeah, I understand. But now you know why I was gone for a whole week, I still can't believe it myself. It felt like forever. Aika. This is just a lot to take in, that's all. The black-haired boy smiled slightly as he placed his hands on Aika's shoulders, making the brown-haired girl look at him. Issei. I know, but take your time, okay? I don't want you to end up hurting yourself, okay? Aika didn't say anything, but what she did do next shocked the black-haired boy. The brown-haired girl hugged Issei, the black-haired boy didn't expect this. But it felt nice. Aika. I'm so sorry, you shouldn't have to go through that pain. Issei hugged Aika back as he rubbed the back of her back. Issei. It's okay, I survived it all. Aika. But you were taken from the ones you love. A sigh escaped Issei's mouth as he continued to hug Aika. If he was gonna ask her about the letter, then now was the best time. Issei. Speaking of love, you remember I said I found a love letter in my locker. Aika. Yeah. What about it? Issei. Well, I know who the love letter was from. Aika. Oh. Who was it from? The black-haired boy let out a small chuckle as he smiled at the brown-haired girl, causing her to blush slightly from the smile. Issei. It's you, I know the love letter was from you. Aika's face became bright red as her eyes widened in shock. It was true that she was the one who placed that love letter in Issei's locker. But she didn't expect the black-haired boy to find out about it so fast. She thought it would have taken a week or more before he figured it out. Aika. How did you know? Issei chuckled. Issei. Let's just say that my old self figured it out. Aika blinked as she remembered Issei telling her about him being frozen in ice and meeting his old self. Issei. My old self discovered the little writing that you left in the corner of the letter. Aika blushed more. Aika. So, are you gonna tell me that we can't be together cause of this ritual thing? A smile grew onto the black-haired boy's face. Issei. Normally I would, but I got all the time before I do the ritual. So that means that Aika cut Issei off when she kissed him on the lips. This caused a black-haired boy's eyes to widen in shock. A small blush covered Issei's face as he didn't expect this. He didn't expect Aika to kiss him. Issei. Whoa. Aika blushed as she looked away. Aika. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Issei. No. This made the brown-haired girl look at the black-haired boy. Issei grew a small smile. Issei. I liked it. Aika. Really? Issei nodded his head as Aika was left speechless. She then smiled and kissed Issei on the lips again. But this time the black-haired boy kissed back, wrapping his arms around the brown-haired girl's waist. Before long they separated and looked at each other. Aika. So I guess we're a thing now? Issei. Yeah, looks like we are a thing, my love. Aika giggled slightly. Hey, you two, food's ready. Both Issei and Aika heard the brown-haired girl's mother calling for them. Aika. Well, I guess that's our signal. Issei. Yeah. With that, both Issei and Aika made their way out of the room. They then began to make their way downstairs while holding each other's hands. When they arrived in the kitchen and saw Mamako, who was holding some food in her hands, the brown-haired woman looked over at the two and smiled when she noticed they were holding hands. She found it really cute that her daughter was holding a boy's hand. Mamako. Aw, that cute. Aika blushed from her mother's words. Issei on the other hand simply chuckled. Mamako. Well, you two sit at the table. I'll bring the food over. Issei. Aika. Okay. The duo then walked over to the table and sat down in 2 chairs. There were 4 at the table, just in case they had guests over. Mamako soon walked over and placed 2 bowls of delicious food in front of them. Issei. Whoa, that looks good. The black-haired boy had never seen such food before. It looked like something out of cooking shows. Mamako smiled at the black-haired boy. Mamako. Thanks, now eat up you two. Aika. Okay, mom. With that, both Issei and Aika began to eat the food that Mamako made for them. Meanwhile in hell, Surzich's Gremory had entered a lab to see some devil scientists doing some experiments on the rodent corpse. While Surzich's is happy that he got to name a new species of creature, the red-haired devil king is also very worried about something. Are there more of these creatures? Where do they come from? Why did it just show up now? Surzich's waited as the head scientist soon walked over to the red-haired devil king. Head scientist. Lord Surzich's, we have some information about the rodent that you may be interested in. Surzich's. Please, go ahead. The head scientist cleared his throat. Head scientist. Well, we discovered that despite rodent's digestive tract being wired properly, it seems that it doesn't need sustenance. Surzich's. So, you're saying that it killed that stray devil for fun? Head scientist. Yes and no. This got Surzich's attention. Surzich's. What do you mean? Head scientist. Well, it doesn't need sustenance. What it does use the food for is something else, which leads into what we discovered about its gender. That's right, Surzich's wondered if there were more rodents. So would it make the one on the examining table a male or a female? Surzich's. So, what is it? Head scientist. It's genderless. This shocked the red-haired devil king. The rodent was genderless. He then realized something. What did the rodent being genderless have to do with it eating food? Surzich's. What does this have to do with it eating food? Head scientist. Well, you see, we believe that the rodent can reproduce by consuming food, despite it not needing food to survive. Surzich's nodded in understanding. He now understood what the scientist meant. But he still wondered one thing. Why did it just die? It had no injuries from what his sister told him, so why did it just suddenly die? Surzich's. There's one final thing I want to know. Why did it just die? From what my sister told me, it flew into the air after tearing the stray devil apart and just died. The head scientist scratched the back of his head. Head scientist. We're not sure, my lord. But what we can guess is that there are more out there and they may end up attacking. This was bad. If more rodents attack, then who knows what will happen. Surzich's needed a plan. He needed a weapon that could deal with these rodents. Suddenly, an idea came to the red-haired devil king. Surzich's. Thank you for all your work, but I have a new assignment for you. Head scientist. Yes, my lord. What is it? Surzich's. I want you to build something for me, something under the codename Jet Jaguar. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.